Hey, what it is, what it ain't. Welcome to another episode of Friends and Family Pod. We are here. We are flying the missing man formation because English is off, drinking wine in Homestead somewhere.
Must be nice.
Shouts to you, my boy. It must be nice. Let me get some of that DJ money. Kat's here.
What's up, guys?
We have an amazing, an interesting opportunity that was presented to us through English. We want you to meet
Julia. Hi, everyone.
Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm Julia. I just moved back home from Paris. I'm 23 years old, and I'm happy to be here. I have a lot to say. Y'all gonna see.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Julia is in the building.
Woo! Round of applause for Julia.
Julia is our resident, if you want to call her the editor-in-chief of this whole thing, behind the scenes arguing. That was who you heard in that last episode.
She had a lot to say, so we had to bring her up.
Yeah, we had to get her on camera. You know what? Let's go. You need to sit down in front of the camera today. Because, baby, you was over there in that corner like...
I was.
A what? A two?
The faces, though.
Yes. The faces were golden. We hope that your week has been happy, blessed, and safe. So we gonna jump into these topics. Let's do it.
So today's episode, I want to revolve around parenting. Now, if you're a single dad, if you're a single mom, hear these topics out. See what you think about them. I would love to hear your opinion. So DM us, send us a message. I want to see your point of view.
Yeah.
Because everyone sitting here on this couch, we're not parents.
No, we're not. Thank God.
But we were raised by our parents, so we have a couple things here to say.
Yeah.
So if you out there listening, you are parents, we would love to hear your opinion on this. But let's jump right in. So our first topic of today is soft parenting. Does soft parenting work? And did your parents approach you with soft parenting?
Soft parenting does work, but I was not raised like that.
You think
That's the first thing I had to say.
Really?
I don't know what soft parenting is.
Well, I would say gentle parenting.
Yeah.
Soft, okay. I've never heard that. I know gentle parenting.
Okay.
But basically, it revolves around a different dynamic between parents and the kid, where your kid is not something that you like throw around and you like tell what to do and blah blah. It's like more into the psychology of the child, because children do have like a neuro development that goes on. It's not just like born and then they have limitations, they have their time to learn things, and it's just like parenting around that, and then also parenting around your kid, because what can work for you can work differently for another kid, because we're all different, right? So I feel like it does work when you know how to do it.
So my 2 cents on soft parenting is I personally was not raised in the soft parenting atmosphere. My household was very loud. The yelling. My parents weren't so bad on the hitting, at least for me, because I was the girl, but my brother, he definitely got his whoopings. But I've definitely got a few, but not a lot. But it was the yelling. Now as an adult, though, I understand the whole psychological part about it, because if someone now as an adult yells at me, if you yell at me, I completely shut down. I either swing at you or I break down crying. So those are my 2 reactions. I do not...
That's eye-opening.
Yeah, I do not, like... Even though what you're probably yelling to me is a valid, factual, whatever, I'm not going to take it. I'm just going to shut down, cry or swing. And... I know
your
that
fight or flight is like fight or flight.
Literally.
Very black and white. Goddamn.
So, I see where that stems from. I definitely see where it stems from my childhood. And I don't know. I've always thought, because I definitely do want to be a mom, I don't know if I'm going to do the whole soft parenting thing. Although, definitely, like you said, childs do have limits. But strike 1, I told you. Strike 2, I told you louder. strike three, you're probably gonna get a pat on the butt. But like a little pat on the butt. I'm not gonna take the fucking frying pan like my mom did.
Hey, yo.
Or like the chancleta or the broomstick, because we've all gotten those. So, you know, definitely not that. But a little pat on the butt, I don't feel like it's that bad. Obviously, you're not gonna strike your kid.
Right.
But yeah, that's how I feel about the whole soft parenting thing. But again, I'm not a mom. So once I'm put in that situation, I might be in a whole different predicament. You know what I mean?
Right.
What about you, Dame?
I was not raised in any kind of soft essence at all. Like, I grew up like I remember the first time I got my ass beat, I was 10.
Okay, that took a long time.
I pulled that I remember.
Oh, okay.
I pulled a tablecloth off of a table, but it was because I was playing in an area I wasn't supposed to be in. You know, black households, you have like the unholy grail of a living room.
Don't touch the couch.
Right.
The plastic.
Yeah.
Right. Facts. So like, I basically pulled the tablecloth and two of the candlesticks fell and broke, and my dad whooped my ass so bad. And I just remember that opened up a gateway to ass whooping land. Every time I did anything, it was just the ass whooping, and they got increasingly more and more violent as I got older. And then as I got bigger and stronger, they got progressively worse.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I remember I was 14 and we used to do these things where, like, in order for me to do things with my friends, I would have to complete tasks in the house. So, like, on Saturdays, it was, you know, you got to work out first before you do anything. So we wake up, we go, you know, you come get me, get up 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, which is unheard of.
Yikes.
Go down, get dressed, go to the gym, work out for 2 hours, come back, lawn, right? Cut the grass, do the edging, clean the pool, breakfast, then you're free to do whatever you want. Yeah. By 6 o'clock, back in the house. You know what I'm saying? Same routine over and over again, right? And I remember the summer of turning 15, I asked if I could have a party. And then I got a list, and the list was to pressure wash the fence, because we had like one of those wooden fences around. Clean the pool. I had to pressure wash the deck, because obviously I'm gonna have people over, and my parents were not. Anytime it said people that were coming over, my mom would take everything apart and dust and clean the fucking. And I remember, I'm just setting the scene. I'm doing the fence, and my dad told me to do the fence from the bottom by the canal up to the house. But I started from near the house because it was shaded and it was hot, and worked my way down. This man, I got headphones on, and he's yelling for me. And I had put the pressure washer down, and I was cutting the tree limbs that were hanging over from the neighbor's tree. This man picked up the pressure washer and sprayed me in my back with that.
Oof, that shit hurts.
Peeled all the skin off the upper left side of my back. To this day, it's it's healed, and it's got like the marks in it where like the pressure washer.
Oh my God.
Sprayed me pretty much point blank range because I couldn't hear him. Like, stuffed the headphones in my head, turned them up, like, you know.
Understandably.
And, I'll never forget like that one. And then my dad left when I turned 15. And then I was 16. It was me and my mom. We we lost our house. We were living in a duplex. And I used to have a DJ system. So I would DJ part-time to make money, me and my neighbor. And we were also heavily into like go-karts and dirt bikes. And the neighbor had gotten a hold of a dirt bike that was broken. It was all messed up. Somebody threw it out. And we took a whole summer and built this thing back up to get it running. And he had a dirt bike, so he was like, yo, you ride this one so we could ride together. And I guess the neighbor got pissed off that we fixed the dirt bike and went and told my mom we stole it. So I'm sitting in the kitchen and I just hear like the frying pan like flying. You ever hear like?
Yeah.
And I move out of the way and it hit the wall and was stuck in the wall like sideways, right?
Oh my God.
And I remember she came over and was like, what's wrong with you? Why would you do such a thing? You're not a fucking criminal. I didn't raise you this. And when she went to like hit me, I don't know what came over me. I just bloop, grabbed her hand and I was like, that's it.
Oh my God.
This hitting shit is dead. Just like that. I'll never forget it. I will never forget that day because that was the last time anybody
Same.
ever put their, like, I was like I grabbed her and I know she felt it when I grabbed her, like, oh shit. It's like the hitting shit is just, it's a dub. You want to ground me, you don't want to listen to what I have to say, cool. But I was like, but you ain't gonna hit me no more. I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
that was I didn't grow up with gentle parenting.
Yeah.
And as a result of it, I have a lot of like hyperpensity for violence. Like when I realized that, like later in my teenage years, like you say something to me, like we just gonna fight. I'm cool with that. Like I'm cool with the pain. I'm cool with you hitting me because like I done got my ass whooped by a grown ass man for years. So it was like, okay, I had to go to therapy to learn like, hey, don't put your hands on people. You can't resolve nothing that way. So to
Right.
me, I think that maybe a component of gentle parenting with a lot of solid structure is okay. But when you start to like just use violence as the only form, you're gonna raise a monster. You have to be very careful.
That is true. I see it. I see it in my personal life. I'm not an only child. I have siblings, and my older sibling has a tendency to snap real quickly. Like, he's real cool. We can be nonchalant, chilling here. Something makes him mad. He will tear this house up. He's broken holes in the wall. And I'm not trying to bash on my older sibling, but it's just, I've noticed that as we got older together, I realized that my older sibling, brother, he tends to lash out. And we were raised in a single household. So I also feel like being raised in a single household with my mom. Dad was never really around. My dad was around. I'm not going to say he wasn't. But it wasn't 24/7.
Wasn't consistent.
Right. My mom was our 24/7. And not only that, but my mom is handicapped. So you have a 17, 16-year-old boy who he feels like he's the man of the house and he feels like he can run this shit. And at that age, you know, he's also a football player, literally same size as Dame. Like, a smack from mom doesn't hurt anymore.
Nah, I don't.
It don't hurt no more. So now my brother is older, and he still has those anger tendencies. And I tell him all the time, like, you know, you need to see a therapist about it. He was like, I'm fine. Everyone has like flaws. And I'm like, yeah, but your flaws, like, you know, you get angry so quickly. And then he was just like, no one's perfect. And everyone has a temper. And I'm like, but he's not getting it. And when he does he does go to therapy, but he does pick and choose what he says. He doesn't, you know what I mean?
Not open. He's calculated.
He's very calculated on what he says and what he opens about.
Right.
Because he does not talk about his anger issues. He does not talk about how quick he snaps, things he's done in the past. He doesn't talk about it. So you can't grow if you're not honest.
Right.
Yeah.
But on that being said, soft parenting is an approach that I want to take as a mother, because I definitely do want to be a parent. I know, Dame, you're solid.
I'm good.
I do want kids, at least 3.
At least 3, me too. Okay.
Why y'all want 3? You want 3 little...
3 is such a good number.
Me too.
3 little bad motherfuckers. Wow! Like...
No, but it's like
terrorizing the
I
crib.
want more of these.
Okay, Julie. You want more Julias in the world?
I want more, like, I want to be able to have kids. First of all, I told you guys this last week. You all didn't hear it, but I really do love psychology, and I want to be able to, like...
See what that would do for a child?
Yeah, like, I want to be able to raise my child the way I know and study constantly is the right way. Not that, I mean, everyone does whatever they want. I'm going to do what I want and what I think is right. So I do want that. And I feel like, I mean, as a woman, me personally, I feel like there's nothing more like sacred and amazing and incredible and godly than the fact that I am able to put children in this world.
Same.
And
I feel the same.
And I want...
It is definitely a superpower.
Yeah, and I don't know, I just want to have a family with children and grandchildren.
Yeah.
A wife. And
I grew up in a big... Although my mom was a single mom. My mom has 8 brothers and sisters. My dad also. So it was always Theo coming over. My cousins, I have cousins that were the same age and we're like blood sisters. Like no one's messing with my cousin, you know? But on that being said, I do want to do the same thing that you're saying, that I am taking in, although I never studied psychology, I am taking in what I've noticed about my upbringing and how it affected me as an adult now. Like the whole yelling thing is definitely a big one. I don't want to do that to my kid. I don't want to scar them to the point where I can't, like, you know, kids are going to be told right from wrong. I don't want to yell at them.
Right.
For them to understand. I want them to be an open,
but it's natural, you know,
right.
Everyone raises their voice, and that is not the issue. The issue is the lack of respect, and I feel like that is
that is definitely the biggest thing.
Gentle parenting is that, because in general, parenting today, like how we were raised and our parents were raised, there is no respect.
No,
like we're just
told what
humans.
Yeah. You better
We're
do
humans.
what I say. Do as I say. Don't worry about what I did. You got to do
and
what
And that's the thing. Like gentle parenting revolves around respect of this person that is a child and not your child, because that's also something important. Like your kid is not yours to have.
Right.
They're a person and they deserve respect and they deserve to be treated right,
no matter what the age is.
Exactly. And it's like, you will teach your kid, don't fight, don't beat people up, like don't scream at people, say thank you, like all those things, and then you're at home not
doing those.
And like imagine like a baby, you know, they're super cute, like 3-year-old, like running around, they're getting beat up, like that's unimaginable.
Right.
That people that love their kids are beating up their kids. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, not to interrupt, but I kind of also feel like what you're dealing with there is like the do as I say and not as I do paradox is very big when it comes to parenting.
Yeah.
And we don't pay attention to the convenient hypocrisy behind it. You know what I'm saying? And then not understanding that, like, if you expose a child to violence, you're writing a language for them that's teaching them that, hey, this is how I deal with problems. Because
this is how problems should be dealt with when it comes to me, you know?
Right.
Definitely.
And then you grow up and, you know, my biggest thing with, I'm going to be honest, one of my biggest things with not wanting to be a parent is the world we live in and the impact that gets to have on your child. And the say-so you have as a parent is very, very thin.
Yeah.
And it's like it's becoming more and more, you know, intrusive. You're losing more of your right as the birthing father and mother of a child in a household. The walls of your place, your home, that place that's sacred, seems like the only time you have valid authority. Whenever they're out in the world, there's so much being forced on people.
Yeah.
So the way I see parenting, right? Not to cut you off, but the way I see parenting is I'm bringing a child into this world. I'm nurturing them. I'm raising them to be a good human being. You know right from wrong. You know yes, no ma'am, your manners. You know all these things. Now what you grow up to be in the world, that's up to you. But I know that I raised you the right way. And I know that you know that.
Right.
But that also scares me too, in the sense there's so many people out there that have been raised the right way and they just turn out to be assholes.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys don't, you look at some of history's most prolific killers.
Yeah.
I hate to take it to a dark place, but some of those wholesome families, right? Like the American dream of a family, like take summer vacations and you find your brother behind a building playing with a rat and don't tell your mother because you think, oh, he's just being a boy. And he graduates from rats to cats, and then from cats to the neighbor's stray dog, and from the stray dog to, before you know it, an old lady in your neighborhood ends up dead and no one is batting an eye, and then 3 people end up dead, 4 people, and he's growing and evolving and he ends up being a Ted Bundy. It's the truth. It's really like, you know,
I get that, but I really don't feel like a wholesome family exists. Because like
The perfect family does not exist.
Well, no, what I was talking
but not
about.
even perfect. I mean, just the fact that, because everyone has trauma, and if you have trauma, you're throwing that onto someone else.
Correct.
You know, so even though they have like a roof and money and they go to school and like their life could be from the outside like peaceful and blah blah blah, like there's still trauma dumping from parents onto those
Correct.
kids that
Correct.
like, for example, my trauma could result in like me breaking down whenever someone screams at me, but it could also result in me like
Yelling back.
stabbing someone when they scream at me.
Right.
That's like,
Your response.
it's different. You can have the same trauma with different responses.
Correct.
So, and not, I mean, if we're going to go back to like serial killers, there's also like psychological issues that
Of course, no, but I think that your parenting and your environment definitely has a big impact on that. No,
It does.
You know what I'm saying?
I think it does. But
I had met people in my lifetime where it was like I grew up with people who I see the things they suffer from, and I definitely 100% blame their homogeny, where they come from, how they were raised, and the style of parenting that their parents chose to use. Like, I have friends and people that have been formerly friends with, and I'm looking at them going, literally, your life is perilous and you struggle simply because of how you were raised.
Yeah.
And the outlook that your parents had on the world, and then them impacting you and imposing their will on you and not allowing you to develop as an individual, male or female, because I've seen it in both, where they're handicapped. You know, you 34, 35 years old, still live at home, haven't developed any kind of sense of independence because that driving force behind your like family, and then they dump on you and you don't know how to deal with your emotions because you're having to deal with multiple things at one time and you're not taught how to cope. You're not given an escape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in a way, I think like some of the things that you go through are important. It's like a rite of passage. Struggle has to be a part of your life in one way or another. You know what I'm saying? And I always say, like, I'm an advocate for pain, especially in males. Young men need to go through things and they need to understand pain and struggle, because if you don't learn how to tap into that, you can really just grow up like a little butterfly loving little boy. And then next thing you know, you go out into this world that is not so kind. And it's like, whoa.
But that's like the hard balance when it comes to like gentle parenting, because you still have like, I've heard people talking about like, oh, you don't put limits on your kids, blah blah, like all of that. You still like discipline and gentleness do not have to be separate.
No, they do not.
You know what I mean?
No, they do not.
And also when it comes to the outside world, like it's always important that your child is aware of the world. And I don't feel like you have to, I mean, of course pain is important, but they will go through it. They don't have to go through it
at the hand of the parent. No,
Yeah,
that's not what I meant at all.
No, I know. But being like having a safe space at home and then making your your children aware of what's going on outside is also really important, because they can first of all learn to value
True.
what they have, and then also not be like a stupid butterfly. You know,
Right.
they're like aware, because I've known people that are completely blind to what's going on outside of their bubble, and it's like, oh, your parents didn't tell you that.
No, they shielded you from everything, and then you go out into the world and you're more if you're I think in speaking directly to like as a man, male culture, right? The idea of the way you grow up as a man, right? Inherently, you have to go through certain things in order to learn, but you also can be taught things if your father's in the home. Like, just as much as my dad was very, very strict and very disciplined, what it taught me was structure and discipline.
Yeah.
When a lot of people struggled to do things, I would just pipe down and do it. Yeah. It was self-imposed. You understand what I'm saying? Because that was something that was like loaned to me by my father, right? In the beginning, I hated it. And then you grow to either like it or you accept it for what it is and do your part, right? So when you grow up and you start to fuck up in life itself and you remember those things, you go, oh, wait a minute. I've gotten away from things that can help me.
Yeah.
You know, when you're not exposed to that, life gets to tell you who you get to be as opposed to you dictating to life what you want to be.
Yeah.
And that is where I think the dangers lie, in the idea of not having some form of integral structure.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to be a hard ass. Don't be
Right.
ruthless. But you gotta be able to still be a father and be present and be an omnipotent ruler. It's almost like if your mom says, I'm gonna call your father, you straighten up.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, don't do that. Let me. You know what I'm saying?
There's nothing wrong with that. I just think that the way we lived it was
In an extreme version. Because those people didn't know any better.
You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I absolutely agree. You have to have, I mean, as parents, you're responsible for this kid, right?
Right.
So you need to be their guide, their teacher. You're responsible for them. Like, they're not your property, but you still need to, like, make
100%.
sure that what needs to be
Gets done.
gets done, and that's on
course.
you. That's not on the kid, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny that you talked about how your dad was disciplined and that you are, because I was really struggling with living alone in another country and having to do like a lot of paperwork and all that shit,
Adult.
like every year adulting, and it
Yeah.
was really hard for me. And one time I talked to my therapist and I was like, what is wrong with me? Because my mom, she will get anything done. If she gets a bill, same day it's paid.
Right.
If she gets whatever, same day. I can't even call a doctor. Like, what is wrong with me? I just procrastinate that shit too much. And she's like, you know what? Maybe it's the fact that you saw your mom doing all of that and she was still never happy, or it like never ended, that instead of doing the same thing,
Yeah.
because it still got done, but instead of seeing the part of like, oh, it got done good, you saw it never ending, and her like
The paradox
I
of
mean,
it.
it's not that serious, but like suffering because
Right.
of it, that now you're like, I'm not doing anything. I don't want.
Yeah, I
anything
think
to
when
do
you
with it.
inherently grow up and hate responsibilities because you grew up in a hyper responsive space.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like me, I didn't grow up around money. So I learned about money late in life.
Yeah.
Right. When I say late in life, I mean like I'm being given a fuck ton of money and no one's telling me how to manage this. I'm just literally there like, so what do I do now? I see a shirt, I buy it. I see a pair of shoes, I buy it. I see a watch, I buy it. I see a car, I buy it. No one's there to go, hey, index fund, Roth IRA, retirement, health insurance, stock market, options, IPOs, no one's doing that. I have no one there for that, because in my family, I'm the guy that's the outlier. I've been the one to make something of myself outside of those people. So before that, the things we would deal with was just kind of like the bill came and we just chose which one got paid and which one didn't. And everybody just mentally prepared to not have lights for a week, or, we're going to eat the same thing for dinner for the rest of this week because the water bill had to be paid and that was supposed to be the money for the groceries, or there's no cable on the TV. So just play your movies and play PlayStation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't grow up like, oh, a bill comes, pay the whole thing. Don't pay half of it. And next month you get a bill with the other half of the new bill. You know what I'm saying? Like, not understanding these things, right?
Yeah.
And when you don't have that type of information on hand, on tap, the recipe for disaster is just so big, and that's why I say, if I were to be a parent, there's 3 rules that I would have for a child. I would teach them, do not be afraid of having responsibility.
Absolutely.
Right? Male or female, right? Understand that whenever challenges arise, you need to learn to rise to the occasion. Do not shrink, do not cower, and do not hide from anything. Whether you've been solely held accountable for whatever you've created, or you're being asked to rise to that occasion based on something that you're solving. Be brave.
Yeah.
Right? And number 3 of everything else is develop a character that is your own and follow that. And do not let anybody manipulate you out of that spot. It could even be me.
Retweet.
I really feel like,
Retweet.
no, I think like those are pillars that you should live your life by.
Absolutely.
So if I were to take up the mantle of parenthood, that's where I would start. It wouldn't necessarily be, it'd be gentle parenting mixed with, because I'm not beating I'm not beating my kid. If I had a kid, I would never beat my kid. Just because of what it put me through psychologically.
What we all went through.
I would never, I would never. Beating my kid would be the absolute like.
No.
I would never touch my kid. My dad only did like this to me once. It completely traumatized me. My mom, she did it, so it didn't like traumatize me as like I don't even remember because it happened. But my dad, like that, never touched me. He touched me once, and
You were like,
like I remember it like it was yesterday. Like 3 years old.
Yeah.
Me too, bro. My dad actually never hit me. He never hit me, but what my dad would do would get in my face, like this close to my face, and yell.
Oh my god.
ooh.
But like when I'm
But that's
talking
where
yell
you're-
to the point where like the spit's coming out of your mouth type, and I would be like 6-year-old cat like. Or my dad, he would always wear a belt. He would take off his belt like he was gonna hit me, but he didn't hit me. He would hit the furniture around me. Like if I was standing next to a dresser, he would hit the dresser or the nightstand or whatever was around me. And like in my head, I'm like, I'm next. But he never hit me because he always knew that like.
My dad would be like, go pick that branch right there and come back. And
So-
whip my ass with that branch up and down.
Parents, please be respectful to your kids. They're their own person. Understand that. Approach them with kindness.
Understanding.
Like
Fuck.
kindness and
Kindness and
empathy.
respect.
and study. Please study. A kid is not a
The way how you were raised, yes, you might have turned out okay, but it's probably not the best way. There's probably other ways that you can go about it.
I mean, no one can optimize parenting to be perfect, but
Right.
man, like
Right.
It
But
can
let's
be
not
better.
traumatize the next generation. I feel like that's our duty as this generation is to understand that and not to traumatize the next.
one thing I would like to say is that the latter part of my life, being raised just by a single mom, was very hard.
This brings me to our next topic though. Do single mothers take all the credit?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
They
Yes,
do.
they do.
They do.
100%. I'd like to lead off by saying that
But rightfully so?
it's not a matter of rightfully so if you are purposefully leveraging the fact that you and this man are no longer together. The basis for most of the things that we see is that the woman is either still in love with the man or does not want the man to be in the child's life because you don't want the version of yourself that that man experienced to be passed on to your child by your father. Like, why didn't your parents work out? For me as a man, my relationship with my mom as it stands right now, I'm gonna keep it a yard, is non-existent. Why?
Oh, really?
No, it don't exist. We struggle with communicating effectively, understanding and respecting my boundaries as a man, recognizing that I am an adult. Right, and respecting me in that sense. Like, you can't speak to me like I'm 13 or demand things of me like I still live in your house, because I don't. I pay the mortgage here. You do not.
Yeah.
You follow? We don't have that rite of passage transition that ever took place, right? However, my mom did take me away from my dad, like she said, right? So my relationship with my dad now is like, yo, if I were you, I'd leave her ass too. Why? Because I've seen the character that she possesses now as a functioning adult who's gone through my own relationships. I look at her and I go, yeah, I wouldn't want to be with your ass neither, man. That's just the truth, right? However, you're my mother. I love you, but you don't have no governing anything when it comes to respect, money, a social hierarchy for like your son and a mom. It's like every problem she has, she calls me.
That's crazy.
And my dad, when I was 15, I remember when he was going to leave and he sat me down and he was like, your mom's going to tell you that I'm the worst person on this planet. He was like, she's going to tell you that I'm the worst thing that ever happened to her and how I did all these things that are horrible. But what she will never tell you is that she played a role in it.
Yeah.
And there's never been a time in my life where the hardest and the loudest screams that I've ever had to give out to the world were at the hand of my mother. Whether it was because she set something on fire,
Definitely.
and brought me in. You see, you're doing it, right? You're experiencing that, aren't you?
Yeah.
Or you have. She brought me in to extinguish the fire, or I was the placeholder for a problem that I had absolutely nothing to do with. So when I say, I think that when you see these moms and they're like, well, I'm the mother and I'm the father. Okay, What role are you playing in the father being absent? Did you pick a man and assess his character before you let him climb on top of you and get you pregnant? My argument for responsibility will always be rooted in accountability, right? First. And yes, it was a different time and y'all didn't know all these terms and all these words, but character is character, love. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy to be here, but I don't want to be the one that's bearing the brunt of the problem because you are trying to vilify the man you laid down and have an offspring with. You get me? So maybe for me, I'm reporting live from Traumaville. You get me? But I'm gonna be honest about it. I think when we see, like sometimes I see it. I follow women who are parents or single, you know, and happy Father's Day to me because I'm the mother and the father. And it's like, okay, but have you ever stopped and just asked yourself, like real quick, what role am I playing in this child's father not having access to the child? Am I making this about me and not about the child?
My upbringing was so different. Damn, it's crazy. I'm listening to your upbringing and it's just like, that's not what happened to me. Although my mom and my dad were not together.
Right.
My father was still present in the sense that Father's Day came, he was there. I had a parent-teacher conference, my dad was there. Like, you know, my dad was there, but he wasn't there 24/7. So it's not like my mom ever held me from my father because my mom did not do that.
Right.
My mom would actually be like, oh, did you call your father today? Like my mom was always like, make sure you consistently keep that relationship going with your dad. But on that being said, my mom was there 24/7, so my mom was the disciplinary one. Although when my dad was there, he was obviously a disciplinary one, but when he wasn't, which was, you know,
more often than not. Right.
My mom was. So looking back on this, it's like I will never forget this. I went fishing with my dad. My dad took me out fishing out by Dania Beach, and we saw one of his work buddies. My dad and his work buddy are there talking, whatever, and I'm being really respectful. You know, my dad would always say, stay out of grown men conversation or grown people conversation. So I'm over there hooking up my fish line or whatever, and the guy goes to my dad, like, your daughter, she's so well-mannered. And then he goes, thank you. And I remember I took it offensively because I'm like, although, yes, you are my dad, you never really taught me manners. It was always my mom. So
you had the advert of what everybody
right.
else.
Please, thank you, the mannerisms, being kind and polite. It was always from my mom. Now, don't get me wrong. My dad has taught me really, really important lessons that to this day formed me and shaped me to the person that I am today. I grew up in a very wealthy neighborhood, but I was the poorest kid on the block. Do you know how that feels to be most?
Yes, I do.
Poorest kid in the wealthiest neighborhood?
Yes, I do.
So I see all my friends with like 100%. the coolest sneakers, and I would always
toys and
yes, and I would always
they got 10, 12 presents, and
I literally got like one
with a shirt.
Yeah, maybe some candy.
Yeah.
That was me. And so I remember one year I was complaining to both my mom and dad, and I'm like, how come our neighbor Camilla has this, that, and I got sneakers? And then my dad was like, I'll show you. Come here. You know what he did? I'll never forget this. I was 14 years old. 14. He took me to a homeless shelter in Miami and made me volunteer. I was serving food. I met girls my age that had nothing. Nothing. And then he was like, this is how me and your mom was raised. Now, although I brought you to a really nice neighborhood in Florida,
that's to make sure that you don't grow up like they did.
It's to make sure that you're around a good crowd.
Well, I'll piggyback off that and say I went through the same thing. It's just in my situation, I'm black.
Okay.
So you're dealing with the elephant in the room of being the only black kid in a white neighborhood. Anytime anything went wrong, it was me. I was like always waiting for the day when, you know, those movies they show like the white people going to the black neighborhood with the fucking tiki torches and the axes and the pickaxe.
Oh my God.
I was always waiting for the hammer to drop. there's so many stories that I could tell where it was just like, this is happening to you because you're the only black family on this street. Like, my neighbor used to torment the fuck out of me and my mom. For the longest, this dude just stupid shit. Now I look back on it and I go, bruh, if you hate black people, just say that. Get this shit off your chest. Like, you know what I'm saying?
My God.
Because when you think about it, right, your parents aren't doing these things because they want to put you in these circumstances to see what it does to you. They're literally saying, no. My mom came from Jamaica. Jamaica's rough. Lived in the country. Yeah, they came, they had land and they built a house and it was big or whatever. But half our house didn't have electricity till recently. You know what I'm saying? The kitchen wasn't even attached to the house till recently. You know what I'm saying? You was pissing in an outhouse outside and you had to burn a candle and walk down a concrete path to go to the bathroom at night. Think about that. In the dead of night, in the country where there's no street lights.
I was about to say, the bugs.
Right. So that's how she grew up. She comes to America, meets this man, and he's like, oh, I'm going back to my country. I'm going to play baseball, and I'm going to make a way out. Come with me. Okay. They fall in love, make a little baby boy. Right? Oh, we have to find a way to raise him so that he doesn't come up and just get put out into the world as a ain't shit another member of society. I know, let's take him to a good school, put him in a good neighborhood. But they're not thinking like the impact that being a black dude in a 98.8% white neighborhood, what that will do to you.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, the trees are groomed and the breeze is nice and it's quiet, but there's so much screaming going on internally because you're like, I don't fit in with none of this shit.
Yeah.
And fitting in is important. Like, if you don't feel safe, then, I mean,
you cannot be an individual and be yourself truthfully.
You can't flourish.
No, there you go. And so that's why I think, and I don't know about y'all, but I think it's important for you to keep a father in the home, like, and give credit to a dad. Like, don't take that away. Like, for whatever reason, we like to, like, don't take that away. Don't make it about just you and play hero if you don't have to.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, single moms do get the credit in the sense that raising a child is probably the hardest job in the world, and they're doing all of that alone and working, and it's a lot. So, I mean, props to all single moms. But I do agree with what Dame said about accountability, because when my mom would, because I grew up in a single household with my mom, and she would really demonize my dad. And when I grew up and I started like understanding things, I realized that even though she did an amazing job and she was amazing, it was not right for her to do that, because, I mean, she chose the person that she was going to have kids with. She knew what he went through. She knew the risks she was taking. And then when it was done, it was something between them that she would put on us, like, not that it was our fault, but she would really talk down on my dad all the time. And we were in different countries, so logistics were hard, but she never told us, like, call your dad, or you should go see your dad, or call my dad and be like, yo.
Completely different situation for me.
It was later for me that my mom started being like, talk to your father. Like, when I got picked up by the Argonauts, I thought I was gonna get signed, and I called the number that I had for my dad, and some woman picked up, and I was just like, oh shit, like, I don't know if you and my dad are dealing with each other, but I'm just trying to get a hold of him because I haven't talked to him in a long time, and I was just trying to see, like, if he, like, wanted to see me or whatever, you know. And she was like, I know who you are. He talks about you all the time. Oh. And I was like, damn, for real? And I was over there thinking, like, my pops ain't want nothing to do with me. Like, this man And he was like, no, that's not what happened. You know, it was just, my parents' divorce was very nasty. Like,
Mine too.
very nasty, man.
Mine too.
It was, so when my mom would like, be like, oh, you're just like your father. And I'm like, well, yeah, so no wonder we don't get along.
Yeah, my mom would say this.
You know what I'm saying?
me.
It's like, well, of course we're not going to get along because he's considered your nemesis.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to, you know what I'm saying?
It's hard because I also feel like women, we all have this. I mean, even men, we all, as a society, like, we have this concept that a mom is a mom, right? A mom is like the main parent.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of women, when they have kids, they also, even if they're still together with the dad, they don't allow the dad to
Parent. Yeah.
as much.
Yeah.
And then in a situation where they're not together anymore, they just
It's even
take
worse.
all the responsibility. And it's like, I know it's hard. I know you're like doing your mom thing and all that, but allow the person to like allow
Come in
the
and
dad
help.
to be a dad. You know,
Right.
sakes,
allow
yeah.
him
Yeah.
and demand it. Like, how are you gonna just accept that he is like, I don't know, only taking the kids like twice a month? I don't know. Go to the judge. Like, talk to this man.
Well,
be like, fuck.
Yeah,
like,
because you have power in the court system. Like, if we're gonna break it down at that level, like shit. Look, for a long time, my dad couldn't come to the U.S. Because of the fact that my mom put him. The first thing she did out the gate was, you know what I'm saying, my dad froze accounts and had offshore accounts with money in it, and my mom knew about it, and she sang like a canary when she went to court. And I'm like, ma'am, tax implications. You're literally putting my dad in like harm's way. Like, now he's on the IRS radar, and it's like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
this is all because you're mad. This ain't got nothing to do with me. And you're blatantly like, oh, we don't have any food, and it's like, okay, but you're an adult.
yeah.
You're a fucking adult.
Not thinking about eating.
No, not
See,
at all.
For you guys, y'all's experience was different. My experience was completely different. Although my mom and my dad were not together, like I said, my mom held my dad where my dad needed to be held. My dad held my mom where they needed to be held. So it's like I had both parents. My dad was disciplinary. He was there. My mom was actually a single mom. Get this. My mom was a single mom, right? She did not work. My dad picked up extra shifts at work to maintain my mom, while my dad has a whole other family.
Oh shit.
That's amazing.
I mean, my dad had a whole other family too.
My
Couple of
dad
them.
has, well, he has no kids through the other family, so I don't have like any step brothers or sisters, but
Right.
he got remarried, so he has another household he takes care of. Plus he still has, even although my mom and my dad are not together, he would make sure my mom is good financially, so my mom can be a stay-at-home for both me and my brother. It would be, I would come home from school every day and my mom would always be there.
Right.
Oh, Hita, you want food? Here's food. Oh, wash your hands. You know, my mom was there and my dad stepped up to the plate and he was the caretaker. Although my mom and dad were not together, my dad stepped up to the plate. And honestly, I had to say thank you to both of them because they made, although they were not together, separate parenting work.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
That's really.
That's how, that sounds like
Really
the
rare.
way it's supposed to go.
Right.
That was not the case for me, boy. Shit.
But all parents have their flaws, right?
Right.
So my mom had her flaws. My dad, to
Has
this
his.
day, has his flaws that me and my dad still bicker about to this day, and he won't see it because he's so hard-headed. But I feel like that's how kids should be brought up. If parents are separated, you know, shit happens. Parents separate. But if, to our listeners who are parents, if you guys do separate, keep in mind that the dad is still the dad.
Shit.
Do not talk down on this
the dad
father.
is not your
Shit.
ex. The dad is this
The father of the
kid's
child that you guys laid
dad.
down and consummated and made together.
Be respectful of that, especially around your son or daughter. Same thing goes to my fellas. The mom is still the mom. Be respectful to the fact
Right.
that you conceived a child with this woman.
100%.
Hold her to some sort of degree of respect. Although you might not get along, y'all might
Right,
hate
right.
each other's
In spite
guts.
of that, in spite of separate but equal. Separate but equal, meaning
And
you're
it's not about you guys anymore. It's about the kids.
right.
Exactly.
Right.
You have a job to do as a parent to raise a respectful, well-mannered human being.
Right.
On both parties.
Right.
Make sure you
positive member of society.
Right. So make sure y'all tag team together and make that happen. Whether y'all hate each other or not, make it happen.
I think that's the biggest thing I've seen. That's like the biggest like failure. It's like, yo, y'all just don't for whatever reason know how to separate your feelings or disdain for the person you've chosen to be in a relationship with, have a child with, and then it fails. The disdain and the dislike overruns what's important. Because I've seen it on the other side. I'm a personal trainer. Like, I train a lot of women who are divorcees, and they become very vengeful. It's like, I'm gonna take him for everything he got. I want half his pension. And it's like, but
well, technically, rightfully so, that goes to the baby, not to you.
But no, when they're talking about it, you're not talking about it like them kids are getting that. You talking about that shit for you, or just to make him suffer.
Because even if you're gonna use it towards the kids in some sort of way, I feel like just a feeling, because we're all human, right? Imagine someone like fucked up with you, like the want of like revenge in some way, I feel like is very natural. And in that degree, which is like really big, it would, I mean, I don't agree with it, but I do understand where it comes from, where like, I did this, and this, and you just like, leave me, and now I'm gonna get everything.
Yeah, no, you're definitely entitled to anger and to feel a certain way, but recognizing when it starts to become an impetus, and you guys progressing forward in a positive light as two people who laid down and made a child.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the most important takeaway. Is like, when we talk about moms taking credit, I understand that like the court system is always going to reward a mom before it gives a child to a dad. Like, a mom has to be deemed unfit. In this country, that's just the nature of the courts here. Right? So even if you are fully capable as a father, you're going to pay a higher price to get, custody of your child.
Yeah.
Even fighting for 50-50 seems audacious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you're better off letting her have the kids, and you pay some money every month, and then you can see your kid whenever you want. But that does not guarantee you smooth sailing. Like, your parents' situation, Kat, is like fucking... I genuinely can't think of anyone that's going through that. And these are grown 50 plus adults. Because even my parents, like, I told my dad, like, when I get married, like, yo, I want you to be there. Oh no, your mother's going. Yeah, yo, I'm about to be 35. Y'all been divorced forever. Still with this shit.
I think about that all the time. It's like when I used to live in Brazil, and I'm not even going to talk about that. Let me talk about today. My stepdad cannot know that I am currently living with my dad, because if he does know, it's going to be a shit show. My parents haven't seen each other for maybe like 50. I mean, they divorced when I was like 9, 10.
Really, they have not seen each other since.
It's been over 10 years. They've never seen each other since.
But they're still in communication, though, with the baby?
No. Not at all, because when they got divorced, my mom went to Brazil. She took us. My dad stayed here. He was going through a phase, so he was not involved. And for my whole life, he wasn't involved until I went to him, and I was like, dude, wake the fuck up, like, what is going
on?
So I pulled him in, and now he's like the best dad. Like, I have nothing to say about him. It's great, it's amazing. But my mom struggles so bad with the fact that my dad is a dad. Like,
talk about that a little bit, because that's the one right there.
In every sense, like, my dad when I used to live in Paris, I probably talked to my dad more than I did my mom. He paid my rent, like, everything. If I needed extra money for some reason, I would always go to him. Like, he never said no. Like,
so you became a daddy's girl all over again, kind of?
I am completely a daddy's girl. Like, now I'm living like with him.
Right.
And for the past, like, I lived in Paris for 5 years, and before that I only went to my dad's house maybe like a couple of times in my life. And since I moved to Paris, because it was all at the same time that he was getting back into my life, I've been more times to his place than to my mom's. And at my
Wow.
mom's, it's like my mom, my sister, my whole entire family. Because my dad, he doesn't have a family basically. So it's just him and his wife. So I would not see all my family and all my friends to be with my dad. And my mom, like I just feel like I'm getting back all this time I lost with him and all this like relationship I didn't have with him.
That's awesome.
And my mom, she just like
Doesn't like it.
when I came here and I got my job and everything, she would be like, but wait, what about taxes? You can't trust your dad with taxes. Have you looked at it? Is it worth it? So are you going to live with your dad? Like everything was a
shit.
problem.
She's
She's
still
like, are you
angry.
going to live in Florida? Why don't you go to California? Like, dude,
Yeah.
like she will make...
She was angry. She was still upset.
She's angry, she will make every
Still
tiny thing like
resentful.
a problem because I'm with my dad. And my sister that did not grow up with him at all, she thinks my dad is like the worst possible human to exist in this world. She doesn't even she doesn't say happy birthday to him, nothing. And that's because she was
kept away from him.
taught by my mom to hate him, because my mom would tell me like
Damn.
I look a lot like my dad. Like,
Oh my God, everyone says that. I'm the spitting image of my father.
I look just like my
really
mom.
am. And my mom would be like, yeah, everything your dad has that's bad, you have it too. And I'm like, dude, okay, he cheated on you, but like, do you have to say that? Like, so if I'm the spitting image of my dad, face, body, everything, that means everything I am is ugly and is bad.
Yeah.
Because it came from him.
Right.
I didn't lay down with him. I
You
didn't
did.
even ask. I didn't even ask to be here.
Yeah, I've had
And
the
now
same.
I'm bad. Like,
Yeah.
what? So
I think the first time that happened to me, I tried to hold my mom accountable. Right, I had a sad story. I had a uncle of mine, my mom's brother. I loaned him some money, and when I loaned him the bread, I thought to myself, like, all right, he's family. Never seen this man be irresponsible. He really must be going through it. He really needs it. Loaned him the money. I told him, like, look, you got a month to pay me back, right? He's like, cool, okay. It wasn't no extravagant amount of money. I think it was like maybe $2,000 or $3,000. It was like, not saying it in a way it was like $10,000 is a lot of money, right? $2,000 or $3,000 is a lot of money, yes. And
Best believe I'll be knocking on the door.
right, I'm gonna be like,
A
yo, where's my?
check.
And I remember, I was lecturing him on the phone, like, yo, you can't be this irresponsible. Like, we had a deal, man. Now you're changing the terms of the deal, and you're trying to run away from the fact that you owe me bread. Talking about I'm an adult, like, ain't got nothing to do with it, man. You owe me money, whether I'm 13 or I'm 35. Run me my bread. And my mom, like, you're speaking and you sound just like your father. And it was like, I just looked at her and I was like, you know what the crazy thing is? You lay down with that man and made me. Stop talking about him like you at some point in your life, you wasn't head over heels for this person. Like, just cut the shit.
Yeah.
She just looked at me. She was like, another statement that your father would make. And I'm like, you're not helping. You're not helping. You're just solidifying what I'm saying. So that's why I make the argument that when you hear moms tell the story of, yo, I'm the mother and the father. Okay, cool. Maybe the guy you chose to lay down with had a problem with keeping his stuff in his pants, or being completely honest with you, or y'all just didn't get along after y'all realized that it was too little too late. There was already children being born. I get that. All right, cool. What I have a problem with, though, is taking credit when you are also a hindrance. Yeah. You don't get to just reap the benefits and glory of being a parent by yourself when you have an active choice to make to include the other parent in rearing that child.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's fair.
And it's the thing, like, people only do to you what you let them do.
Correct.
And that is something that I feel like parents forget a lot.
Oh my God, every time.
Women forget a lot because we're always here to talk about how men are horrible, which is not false. They can be, but also, like, why did you let him do that? What didn't you see? What did you ignore? Mm-hmm. What did you close your eyes to? You know?
Why'd you play dumb, deaf, and blind?
Yeah, and then
right.
when everything's done, you're like, oh, he's this, and that. Okay, but what were you? Why didn't you put boundaries? Like, why didn't you stand up for yourself? Why didn't you? You know? So yeah, parents need to stop like mixing their like love relationship with mom, dad, and kids, because it's not the same. It came from it, but it's definitely not the same, and it will not help your kids, and it will not help you. So just stop.
Daddy. Yeah, we're gonna move on.
So this next topic, this comes now with the 21st century. Everything's going viral, internet,
On
right?
the World Wide Web.
So what is the fine line between posting a friendly, cute family pic or video versus full-on marketing your family?
Oh God.
Like the YouTube, like the family vlogs, y'all seen those?
I feel like any vlog of any sort is about attention. So whether the child is involved of their own knowing and fruition or they're not, it's about attention, and it's about the fact that like money can be made off of those things. Like we all here are sitting here, like I've thought about starting my own YouTube vlog. I've thought about starting my own, like, you know, daily day in the life type things, because I do so much. You know what I'm saying? I think that when it starts to play on like children who don't have an orchestrated say-so in what's happening to them, you have to be very careful.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people are mindful about what that can be perceived like to that child later when they see it. Like, yo, I was so clueless as to what this person was doing and involving me in, because I'm a child. You don't have no maturity. Your brain isn't fully developed in your head. So you're just going along with what mommy and daddy are telling you to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, some of it's cringe. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm like, oh God.
So I used to follow this family. I'm sure y'all heard of them, the Ace family. They're really well known for their family vlogs. They first started off when the wife, Catherine, shout out to the Catherines, when the wife, Catherine, was pregnant with her first child. You know, they had cute little pranking jokes, whatever. They gave birth to the child, and it was so cute, whatever. Now they have a full army of kids. They just have like 3 more kids or something, but their come up was real. They came from a small little 1-bedroom apartment in downtown LA, and now they have a full-on mansion. They actually had a problem with...
They had a lot of problems.
Yeah, but...
Oh, so y'all both tapped in.
I think most people, like, I mean, not most people, but a lot of people know
about the Ace family.
Like, frauds and shit
yes,
like that. Like,
they've been involved in a lot of, like,
Is this
scandals.
the same family that was on USA? They made it to USA TV, and the guy, they had a show, and then they had to, because he was taking money.
I haven't followed them in like years. I just know that there was a thing with him putting up like a basketball game for charity or something. A shit ton of money that didn't go to charity.
It went to his pocket, yeah.
Oh Lord, yeah.
So
I mean,
it started off very innocent. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, whatever. Now they have a full-on mansion that they stole or whatever the case is, but they're profiting huge money off their family. So now you have to think and wonder, are you simply posting these videos because you love your family and it's a cute memory to have on the internet, or is it trying to market off of them?
it's money.
You're trying to make money off of these poor little kids.
That's what I'm saying. It's the money. It's not the children. It's the money. It ain't no way. I mean, I want to say, like, sure, yeah, maybe they
nice
love their
bread,
kids.
though.
Maybe they love their kids, and they're gonna provide those kids with very comfortable lives.
Now, I just know some people are going. I know some of you guys right now are listening and be like, "Well, if I'm making $1 million a year, I'm gonna do the same thing." But
At what cost? Because if you're always in front of a camera, are you performatively parenting, or are you actively, effectively parenting?
ooh,
And also, what is the turnout gonna be when these kids
Grow up to be functioning adults.
they grew up on camera with this lifestyle that's not, and I'm not talking about only Ace family, I'm talking about all, because the moment you get on YouTube, you do your thing, like, you're getting money, you know? So all these kids that we know, they're getting money,
Yeah.
and they're being recorded all day.
Right.
So what is going to happen? Who are these kids going to be? You know, because
Right. And that's my question.
If we are already fucked up with no cameras, like, imagine having like a camera in front of your face all day.
Right.
I'm not that fucked up. Right. I think I'm okay. No. I agree with you. I agree.
You know, it's crazy. And also something we were talking about this week is like pedos. I'm not putting my kid in. Honestly, I don't even think I'm going to be posting my kid on
Right.
my personal Instagram, because
Here's a scary thought. What if Instagram was to release who saves videos to their collection? You know that little clip tab in the corner?
Oh yeah.
How many pedos do you think there would be in these, like, when parents make...
That's so gross. See, you know what? To be honest, like I said, I'm not a parent, so I never really thought about this. But when Julia brought this up in our meeting about like pedos saving that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
bro,
She has...
I have. Yeah, no, I have.
She's correct. She's
I have
100%.
nieces that are like 5 years old and they're into the whole like TikTok thing or whatever. They're starting to post like these cute little TikTok videos, and I, in my head, see it as, they're simply, you know, cute, dancing, whatever. And then there's some pedos that are out here that are probably like
Yeah.
feeding off of that.
Yeah.
they are. And I mean, I'm a lot on TikTok. I'm not proud of it, but I mean, it is what it is. And there's been like a few times that there was like TikTok scandals about moms putting videos of their babies like bathing or eating sausages or like doing stuff like that.
Yeah, like a girl baby sitting down
Exactly.
with ice cream all over. And like, what are you doing?
Exactly. Like white vanilla ice cream, like dripping
Yeah, like,
down.
what the
and the amount of saves on those videos are
Harrowing.
insane. It's like,
Oh, that's so
crazy.
cringe, bro. Literally, like, I feel like ants are walking all over my body. Like, gross, bro.
But that's the thing.
Gross.
And the worst part is the moms are putting their baby, they're selling their babies.
Right. And that's why I was saying that I don't think that when you say you're vlogging for your family, you're genuinely doing it for your family. You're not. At the end of the day, there's a check at the end of that rainbow. And you just basically was like, you know what? If that means that I got to put some videos up that might be questionable, or they might come off in a way that, you know, someone will look at them one day and be like, what the fuck were you doing? Oh, well, because what's going to come at the end of this month is a big old bag.
Let me tell y'all, parents out there, it is your job, it is your duty to protect your
Protect
babies.
family. But
So-
if we live in a world, though, where, like, how did we not see this coming? That's like the crazy thing too. Like when people be surprised about certain things, I'm like, you cannot possibly be surprised, right? We're so liberated about everything. You don't think parenting and sexual orientation and all of that stuff ties hand in hand? We want liberation for this, but not this. That shit don't work.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. You take the cap off for one, you got to take it off for everyone. So I think that that's literally where we fucked up at. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have had an advent for people to go on YouTube and create YouTube channels. And, you know what I'm saying? By the way, follow us, Friends and Family Pod on YouTube. It's a vibe. We got all the good episodes coming. But the point I'm trying to make is like, if you are going to expose your family to vlogging and stuffing cameras in your kids' faces, are you really parenting?
Yeah.
Or are you now just performatively parenting? Like, what do you leave out? What do you
That's what
keep?
it is. Performating parenting.
Yeah,
like,
is it performative art? Right? Like we say music is art. You perform, give a performance. Is it a performative art form of parenting? Like, who are you really?
Yeah.
If this camera wasn't in your face and these lights weren't on in this house and these kids weren't running around and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, is this who you really are?
Yeah, and there's like this there's this mom on TikTok. She has like this little kid and she's not yet, like she doesn't have a scandal yet, but there have been times where people were like reposting her videos talking about how, because the thing is her kid dances. And it's this little girl, like this little mixed girl. She's super cute.
oh, I think I know exactly who you're talking about, with the one that braids hair.
I don't know. Her name is like Tiana or something, the kid, I think. I don't know. But the mom would, like, when the mom's on live, sometimes you can see her like pulling her kid and being like do it, and the kid is just like grumpy, she doesn't want to, and that's just abuse,
Yeah.
You're just abusing
You're forcing your child to do something.
And also because I'm sorry, but if you're on TikTok, that's like eroticization of your child, because you can't, like, those TikTok dances are not supposed to be done by 5 years old. Like,
no, they're not.
They're not. Why are you like twerking if you're 5? Why are you like doing this if you're 5? No.
Right.
Like,
but that's because we made that shit normal. That's what I'm saying. Is you see, you just explained it without having to.
It makes me crazy. Like, what are these parents thinking?
There is this very famous, I've seen her a lot on Instagram. I don't use TikTok, but I've seen her a lot on Instagram, of this young, very, very, very young, I think she almost acts like she's in her 30s, but when you look at her, she's like a little 5-year-old girl. She's super small, really, really small girl. She always braids her hair, wears super long nails. Her mom lets her do this. And she does the whole body rolls, and she acts all on Instagram. Like, those are her videos. Like, she's known for that. And it's kind of gross and kind of sickening to think, like, this little 5-year-old's acting so outrageous and not cute. She's acting ghetto. Let's put it what it is.
Facts.
She's acting ghetto.
Emulating what she thinks is some form of performative art.
But you know what's funny is her mom applauds her for it. Her mom, like, ha, that's so funny.
And her mom's getting her bank account filled with her
money.
But to be honest, I don't know. It's one of those children that you look at them and it's like, you're questionable. Are you a child or are you an adult in a child's body? There's some adults that like have some like disorder where they don't grow, right? Yeah. So you're almost looking at this girl and you're like, are you an adult in a child's body? And you're just acting to be a child because it's outrageous and you're getting the retweets? Or is it you're genuinely a child and acting this crazy online?
And that's what the parents, that's what the parents want. They want I don't think anyone's dumb, okay? I think they know exactly what they're doing. And if this kid acts like they're grown, well, some people might be interested. You know what I mean?
Ew.
And I think they know exactly.
That's been around forever, before the advent of Instagram, Twitter, and Snap or TikTok. Like, think about how dangerous Snapchat is. You ever thought about the fact that like your snaps disappear? Like, that's a pedo's dream. If we're gonna play that game, because nothing is saved, so he could say whatever to your kid and you'd never know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
My kids will never have access to anything.
I think it's dangerous to a certain degree. And I think these people know inherently what they're doing when you're vlogging your life and your child's life, and you're putting your child in these positions where they have to perform and be a performer in front of a camera. And like you just said about tugging on the child and do it. There's going to be times when you're going to have to rob them of their own free will. You're robbing that child of being a child. That experience is gone because you're so busy trying to make money now. It's
like that girl. She's really famous. She was like, that was a few years ago. She was small and she went to like Ellen or something like that. And Ellen, like the person asked her like, oh, so what are you like, blah, blah. And she was like, I'm bad, bougie, and blah, blah.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah. The little black girl. I know exactly who you're talking about.
It's like this little black girl. I don't know how she got there, but from the internet, of course.
Right.
And she was like actually like 3 years old.
Oh, geez.
And she got famous for like her videos, and she was like dressed in kind of like a little juicy like tracksuit, something like that. And she didn't look grown, but she acted grown. And when she opened her mouth, she was like, there was a third word that I forgot, but she was like, I'm bad, bougie, and blah, blah. I'm like,
Jesus Christ.
I just want to take those kids away. Like, I don't know. Something needs to be done. Please don't do that.
I'm tapped out emotionally from this episode. I feel like this is a hell of a way to end the season and to welcome the newest member to the team at the same time.
Thank you.
You guys will be hearing a lot from her. She's got a lot to say on everything. Trust me. We know that brunch was epic. Thank you so much for tapping in with us. If you're new here, go ahead, like, subscribe, follow Friends and Family Podcast on Instagram. The TikTok is coming.
YouTube's coming. Everything's coming.
It's all coming. It's all coming together is really what I'm excited. We'll see y'all next season. I don't have much else to say. Let's see. Pop-ups for Hunters and Hounds. Yeah, next month on the 20th. I'm at Ghost Bar, 441 in Sterling, right across from the big Guitar Hotel. You can't miss it. Pull up, come support the kid. Collection 5 will be here in the summertime. In the meantime, we are rocking with Collection 4. You see, I got my Marlins Hounds gear on today. You know, feeling real spicy.
The old logo. I love the old logo.
Yeah, you like how I did that?
Yeah.
See what I did there? Yes. Huntersandhounds.com is the place to be. When you make a first purchase, your second purchase gets you a discount. Subscribe, get your emails in there for the Hounds crew. That gets you access to all the dope stuff I got coming out early. You get to get a little preview of how we're going to launch Collection 5. I'll be seeing y'all soon. Peace and love on my end. Y'all have the floor.
Follow me on YouTube. You already know, Catherine John.
Oh, One Way Dane, by the way.
My Medellin video is coming up. It's been a lot. I went through a lot of video. I'm doing the Medellin vlog separately from the Medellin LASIK video. So if y'all want to know how my LASIK experience went, y'all already know. And
Smell like burning flesh?
it actually did. It smelled like burning hair. You know when you straighten your hair? That's what it smelled like.
Make sure y'all tap in and watch that.
Watch that. I have that coming out real soon for y'all. Also, gotta shout out my baby. If you like your car content, Motor T, follow him on YouTube. He is getting out there. If you just want to do a quick run, a quick race, DM him. He's all about it.
He's definitely down for the race.
He's definitely down.
I'm like, yo, my guy. Jules, what you got for us?
Well, follow me at Standout Agency. Get me some money. I'll be here a lot. And I'm excited for next season.
Yeah. We all are. Thank you so much for tapping in with us. We'll see y'all soon. We appreciate y'all, all right?
Peace.
Love, peace, and chicken grease.
Peace.